Scream Queens.
Welcome to Screen Queens.
This is the podcast where we talk about all the things on your screens. Big, medium, and small at the end.
Teeny tiny screens.
As a little treat.
That's it.
Look, you probably are already aware if you've been following along. Today we have many things to talk about. We're going to talk about Anatomy of a Fall.
Sure.
First. Oh, by the way, I'm Beck Charwood. I'm a comedian.
Oh,
Hello.
I'm Alex J. I'm also a comedian. Thank you for joining us.
And, okay, back to the agenda. We've got Anatomy of a Fall.
Yes.
In prep for Oscars this weekend. We're also going to be talking about our very excited to talk about J-Lo's documentary.
Chomping at the goddamn bit, my love.
The greatest love story never told. An accoutrement to her visual album.
An accompanying text.
This is me ellipses now.
Let's start with Anatomy of a Fall.
Yes.
Because that is the actual piece of art
Yeah.
that we are reviewing today.
Yes.
And it deserves the headline, I think. It deserves first billing.
100%. Let's start on a positive note.
Exactly. And then we can digress from there.
Yes. Well, I assume a positive note. Did you like this movie?
I fucking loved this movie.
Okay, great.
Right? Did you?
I fucking love this movie.
Well, where did this come from?
This might be France, apparently. This might be one of the greatest movies I've ever seen.
Me too! Oh my God, that's so exciting.
So exciting.
Wow. We have a real light and shade in this episode, don't we?
I slept on this. I saw it nominated for all the awards.
Oh, yeah.
And I was quite intimidated because it did seem like quite a serious movie. It seemed to have a lot of elements that I don't enjoy. It didn't seem quite colourful.
Yep.
It didn't seem like there was a lot of music in
Music,
it.
yep.
And it seemed a little bit dark.
Yes. Like you said, serious and complicated story is what it sounded like. And it is that.
It is.
But it is not intimidating at all. I was the same. I felt intimidated by it, especially because it's an international film as well. And I'm a dumb baby. I don't understand international things.
I like to look at my phone.
Yeah.
While I watch things.
Exactly. I like to read my phone, not read the screen.
As a film professional who appreciates movies and has a whole podcast about it, I like to look at my phone.
I like to look at the other screen while I'm watching this screen.
Yes.
Right? But no, with this movie, you have to watch the only screen. You have to watch the big screen because half of it is subtitles because half of it is in French language.
And also German as well.
And German. There is some German in there as well. But it is not intimidating. It is so inviting. It is so accessible. This storyline is tense. It's dark. It's complex. The movie is incredibly dialogue heavy, which I do love. There was no time spent on any kind of action sequences or CGI or anything like that. It is purely dialogue.
The script was
Stop.
I was hanging on every single word.
Every single fucking word.
The weight of everything, the passion which everyone delivered these performances. I forgot several times that I was watching a movie. I was like, this is a documentary.
I have that exact note. The whole way through, I was like, this feels like a documentary. How is this scripted? The performances in this movie are incredible. I've never seen such naturalistic acting in my goddamn life.
The goddamn French. Understand.
Yeah.
You don't need someone who is like an 11 out of 10 unearthly gorgeous being to carry a movie.
Yep.
The actors in this, particularly Sandra Hüller.
Oh, which, can I just say, I love seeing representation of hooded eyelids in a movie.
Thank you.
Love it. That's why I also love Sarah Snook. I'm a hooded eyelidy girl myself.
We don't need to see them.
We don't need to see them.
Let them have secrets.
I want equal representation.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. I could not take my eyes off her every single scene. And at no point was I like, oh my God, she looks old. She looks wrinkly. I was like, my breath is taken away by every scene with her in it.
And she's real, not in the she's real, colloquial term. She's just a real person. Yeah. It does help, I think, that I haven't seen her in anything before. But I think even if I had, I'd be like, no, this is her character now. This is her. This is who she is in real life. Because it was so real. Like, it felt almost, it felt unscripted.
Yes.
The way she went between sentences and, her eyeline just when she's nervous, mesmerizing.
They must have had an eyeline choreographer for this.
True.
Because no one was like posing to get like their best angle with the camera or the best lighting. They were moving around the scene.
Yep.
But so interesting with every single move and every single choice.
And that I think a lot has to do with the cinematography of it as well. I don't know if you noticed, but like so often she'd be having a conversation with someone, but the camera would just stay on her.
Yes.
We would rarely cut back to the other person talking, which that just made it feel so much more documentary-esque as well, because we're just watching her react to what the other person's saying as opposed to seeing them instead. It was so intimate.
Yes.
I felt like I shouldn't have been allowed to watch it.
Yeah, there was so many like POV shots where you felt you're in the room. And then another thing that the camera did was sometimes you would just see you would be very aware that someone was picking up the camera and walking with it.
Yes.
And it made it like other times I think I've seen it and you've just been like, oh, there's a cameraman.
Yep.
Holding that.
Yeah.
But because there was so many subtle POV shots, you were like, I'm in the room and I'm holding the camera and I'm walking.
Especially in the courtroom. It almost looked like we were watching just the actual court footage.
The court stuff went for over an hour in this movie. This movie's 2.5 hours long.
The majority of the movie is in the courtroom. And I wouldn't know that though.
Yeah.
Because it didn't feel like that.
Yeah. And it's like most of it is long dialogue in the courtroom. I could not take my eyes off it.
And also the way the courts run over there. I love the trial.
Oh.
Let's get me into a French trial. That was fun.
Get some primary fucking colours in the courtroom.
Yeah, true.
The red and the greens and then like the mahogany of everything, but then like the beautiful like white elevated ceilings.
Oh, we should explain the premise. For anyone who hasn't seen this film, it's about a woman, she's a writer, and her husband is found dead outside their house, implying that he's fallen from this top story window where he was working at the time. And it's very ambiguous about whether he fell, whether he committed suicide, or whether she pushed him.
Yes.
And the entire movie is basically like kind of the investigation into it, but not so much the investigation. We don't really ever meet cops or anything. It's just really just the legal proceedings that happen after it.
It's like they're trying to figure out the anatomy of the fall.
Okay, I understand. That's very, very clever title. But like, just everyone in this was absolutely outstanding. Swan Lord, who plays her lawyer, French daddy.
Right.
I could not take my eyes off him either.
Yes. Their chemistry as well. Amazing.
Which I love. Okay, spoilers, but which I love. The whole way through, I'm like, they're going to smooch. I kept saying it to Luke, they're going to smooch, they're going to smooch. They never smooched.
Yes.
It was never about that. It's purely about the anatomy of the fall.
Yes.
And the grief that goes around, like the idea of being accused of your husband's murder and actually living through that. It's insane.
Yeah. And also like the way that you had so much information but still didn't have an answer.
Yep. It was very ambiguous. Like the storytelling was incredible.
And how much it was about the emotion of it rather than like, there was of course like facts and stuff. But it really took into account everyone's feelings around the relationship and the husband who died and like... Because
his therapist testifies and then they really get into the emotion and interpreting what his mental state was at the time.
Yeah.
You're right, less about the facts and more about the just like assumptions, which is infuriating but so interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I did read, like I kind of knew before watching it that it is left ambiguous and we're not meant to know whether she was at fault or not.
Yeah.
Can I ask you though, what do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I usually hate that.
Yeah.
In this case, the whole time, I was expecting to be upset when they didn't give me an answer. Yeah. And I wasn't. I was like, I'm glad I don't know. Yeah. I'm glad this is all up in the air. And it felt so real of like, oh, we're not her. We can never know.
No, the only people who know are him and her.
We're truly just voyeurs.
Yeah. That's what this felt like. We were just voyeurs.
Yeah.
That's why it felt documentary.
Did you have a thought?
Well, it's less ambiguous than I was expecting. Like, she was acquitted at the end, and I actually came away from it thinking she wasn't responsible. I don't know what actually happened to him. I don't know if he fell or if he jumped, but I believe that she wasn't responsible.
Yes.
That's where I'm at
Yeah.
with it.
The point where I was like, this is definitely a suicide was after her monologue in the kitchen while they were fighting.
That kitchen fight scene, give them the Oscar for that alone.
I have goosebumps right now.
Just thinking about it.
I'm like welling up with like the relatable emotions.
Oh, not even, yeah, even just the intricacies of relationships in this film.
Like the fight was so real.
So, again, I felt uncomfortable, like I shouldn't be allowed to see it.
Yeah. Oh. And just like two alternative perspectives, which is what most fights are. Is
Exactly.
Like they see something one way, you see the other way, and you're trying to meet in the middle.
And both are real and both exist.
Yes.
And are correct because they're interpretations. And you're right, to see them come together and be discussed and broken down like that. And to not come to a resolution, which those discussions never do.
Yeah, something that deep and that big and that heavy.
Yeah.
I want to almost get up the monologue. All right. You complain about the life that you chose. You're not a victim, not at all. Your generosity conceals something dirtier and meaner. You're incapable of facing your ambitions and you resent me for it. But I'm not the one who put you where you are. I have nothing to do with it. You are not sacrificing yourself as you say. You choose to sit on the sidelines because you're afraid, because your pride makes your head explode before you can even come up with a little gem of an idea. And now you wake up and you're 40 and you need someone to blame. You're the one to blame. You're petrified by your own fucking standards and fear of failure. This is the truth.
Oh, too real. Too real. No, thank you. Insane.
Some of the best, most poignant writing
Yep.
I've ever seen on a screen.
Yeah. And it's so believable too because her character is a writer. So, you know, they're so beautifully written.
Yeah.
But so like normally in a big monologue like that, you might get a little bit like, I don't believe that character would come up with prose as beautiful as that.
A couple of times in The Bear, I've noticed that in
Really?
the third minute of a monologue,
Yep.
I'm like, really
This was
eloquent
pre-written.
for someone who prides themselves being a grassroots blue-collar man.
Sure. Exactly. But the thing is, it works because she is a writer. Her entire character throughout the whole film is really good at communicating and really eloquent and articulate.
Yeah.
So it just felt so real.
I think it's also something that we see like in relationships with people where someone has excelled massively.
Oh, yep.
And you can't help but feel the resentment off the other person.
I mean, yeah, in any kind of, especially creative pursuit as well, which not especially, I'm sure it's the same in a lot of industries, but that's the one that we're in and that we know the most about. Like this couple, they're both writers and her career is excelling and he has writer's block. Like just basic, just black and white baseline relationship stuff. When you're excelling at something or your partner is excelling and you're not, this movie tackles that so fucking well. Sure, it ends in death. It doesn't always have to.
But visually and like mentally so delicious. I do have a question creatively, speaking of being creatives. So in the movie, she takes an idea of his.
Ah, yes.
And she claims at the time that he agreed to give her the idea. How did you feel about, as a creative, and particularly in stand-up, we are very about you create your own ideas and you never...
Your own premises, everything, yeah.
TikTok trends are something that upsets so many creatives.
All
of
of
people
us,
just replicating
Yeah.
ideas over. Creatively makes me ill.
Yeah.
But in this case, she kind of piggybacked off his idea.
So I have complicated feelings about it. In the moment, the way she was explaining it, I was like, yeah, he gave you the idea. You were very communicative about it. You were very open. Nothing sneaky happened. The Problem is that idea went really well for her.
Yes.
And that's, I think, where the issues come in.
Yeah.
If that didn't take off, because it'd be like if, like, say you were, I hadn't done a joke in a long time and you were like, do you mind if I steal that premise and use it for something else? And I'd be like, yeah, of course, I'm not using it. But then if for some reason you went viral on that
I'm
premise.
doing it on the Tonight Show.
Then I'd be like, oh, well, now I have feelings about it.
Yeah.
You know, just naturally, I think that's.
I'm sitting on the couch with Jimmy and he's like, how'd you come up with that? I'm like, I just write every day. Like,
Oh my God.
that's when you're like, kill this bitch.
And that's what happened here. Like, I have to think he wouldn't have had such a big issue with it if it didn't go anywhere. But the thing is, she wrote this book and it became a bestseller and an incredible part of her career.
Yeah.
And he's just retroactively been like, fuck.
Damn it.
What do you think?
How
did you feel about it?
It made me really nervous because me and Skip trade premises all the time.
Oh, yeah. You are actually two comedians. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're very clear about, like, if you
have a process.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because I came up with an idea about if we were to introduce a third into our relationship, or it wouldn't be sexual, they would just mediate our fights. Like,
Great.
and I tried to make it a bit and I couldn't make it work. And
Okay.
he's like, can I have it?
Cool.
And I was like, absolutely. And he turned it into a brilliant bit that suits him so well.
Perfect.
But we had to have a clause of like, I was like, give me 3 months to trial it and fully put it down. And then after that, it is yours. And he's completely turned it into like, he's spun it another way and he's added a story to it. That
Which
it
is
like,
what she did in Anatomy of a Fall. She
Yes.
changed the genders. She changed the context. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would you feel if Skip ended up doing this on The Tonight Show?
Oh my God, I'm so stoked. I would be.
That also tells me you have a healthier relationship than these two do.
Yeah, look, they've had some other things happen in their relationship that, you know,
They sure have.
took the sunshine out of it.
You're right. Well, then that brings us to The Son. Why the fuck is he not nominated for Best Supporting Actor in everything?
He was amazing.
He's an 11-year-old child and I've never been more transfixed.
Right? He was just like, even because he's blind
Yeah.
and knowing his like angles and direction and everything.
Yeah.
So eloquent in his speech and like.
And he had a lot of big monologues, like one-shot monologues too. Like this kid is incredible.
Okay, my favorite part of his was after he testified in the trial on the last day.
Yeah.
And the judge says, judge was amazing, by the way.
Love that judge. That was
Great
very
casting on
cool.
her.
Very cool.
And the prosecutor.
The prosecutor? Want to have a beer with him.
Oh my God. So on the last day of testifying, the judge asks, is that everything? And he waits until everyone starts shuffling their papers.
Is he ready to go?
And he says, no.
What do you mean? No!
And then just lobs an absolute bomb into the middle of the case.
Like even that story of the experiment he did with the dog and stuff, like just what an intricate story.
Oh my God.
I-
I mean, one of the greatest performances, Snoop, the dog.
Snoop, well done. Best supporting actor nom for that dog as well, please.
The dog. Okay, I know that dogs are known for playing dead. Something
Sure,
we're all aware
it is a
of.
thing.
I thought the dog.
I was like, okay, the French Dude movie's different. Did they kill this dog?
Right, and I was like, did they put in a fake dog?
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It was just playing dead.
The dog just made its eyes go limp.
Incredible. Incredible
couldn't-
performances all round.
Yeah.
Fucking can't recommend this movie enough. And gosh, I hope it sees some awards next week at the Oscars.
And now that I've seen it, I will be waving my little Anatomy of a Fall, my Justine Triet.
Me too.
flags.
And I never thought, I didn't see that in my future.
Yeah.
But
Shout out female directors.
fucking, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Particularly with the argument, you were like,
Oh, yeah.
look, they've both got points here. However,
I know whose side I'm
yeah.
falling on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And as we finish this chat about Anatomy Fall, I'd like us to sing I don't know what you heard about me, 'cause you can't get $1 out of me. The KC. I'm a motherfucking PIMP. Okay.
All right.
Shall we move on to our main course for today?
Okay.
We are now going to review the JLo documentary film made about her visual album, which was titled This Is Me Ellipses Now. We're going to watch the accompanying
By the way, the tagline,
Yeah.
a love story.
A love story, you're right. And then she has since also released a documentary about the making of the visual album. And the documentary is called The Greatest Love Story Never Told.
Which is crazy because you just told the love story.
Which is okay.
Which is indicative of everything that happens from now. So if you haven't listened to last week's episode where we talked about This Is Me Now, go back, listen to it now, or watch it.
Or watch it yourself and just have the most insane experience you've ever had.
Yeah.
This documentary is my new favorite thing in the whole entire world.
I could write a thesis about
I want to.
you know this is serious because if you're watching this on YouTube, I have my laptop out.
Yeah.
Which is something that never happens.
This is unprecedented.
I took so many notes. I would like to say up top, look, we all went a bit crazy in the pandemic, okay?
Yep. Yes, you're right.
I myself tried to pull off a very large creative pursuit.
Did you?
I decided to do a choose your own adventure time travel
That's true.
show.
Yeah. Yeah.
People were like, have you done
Yeah.
concept shows before? No. Outside of stand-up, have you done much performing? I was like, no. What about tech? No. Thank God I didn't have $20 million to let everyone know about it, okay? We all had our projects, but I've never in my life been grateful to not be rich until watching this.
This is the most narcissistic, self-flagellating piece of media I have ever seen in my life. She completely self-funded this, and you can fucking tell.
Oh my! When we talked about Ariana being surrounded by too many yes men, girl, I don't think JLo has anyone around her that tells her anything. Gather your words. I know it's. There's so much I want to say.
There's so much. Let's just get into it. This is my favorite comedy of 2024. This has already set the bar for comedies in 2024.
Look out, Oscars next year.
So she's fully self-funded this, and she EP'd it, she wrote it, gotta say she directed it as well, and I think she almost entirely edited this documentary herself, because there were things in this that I cannot believe made it through.
So much of this, I was like, what are you doing?
What is this?
2%, babe. Give us 2%. Again, another celebrity giving us too much.
Yeah.
Keep your mouth fucking shut.
Because the illusion has been broken now. I watched this with Luke last night, and even he had the take of, I wonder if this is going to ruin her career, because this was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Basically, the reason it was embarrassing was like she made a documentary where she wanted to be both the hero and the victim at every single point.
Yes. So in her mind, This Is Me Now was going to be huge. She was like, this will be the greatest thing I've ever done. This is going to be like Lemonade levels of talked about.
I wouldn't be surprised if the word Oscar nomination came up in chats around this.
They had to edit that out 20 times.
Yeah.
And so this documentary is set up in the perspective that everyone loved This Is Me Now and saw it as groundbreaking and astounding.
Yep.
And everyone in the documentary is saying, girl, this is a bad idea.
Everyone is telling her it's a bad idea.
Ben Affleck is holding back.
Ben Affleck hates Jennifer Lopez, if this is anything to go by.
I don't know if he hates her. I think that
Not hates. I'm exaggerating.
Sees her as adorable.
Yes.
And he's like, baby, you want to make an album?
I feel like he didn't think this would ever see the light of day, this document. Like all of his shots in the documentary, if I had the vibe of, sure, I'll be in your little documentary that you'll do a little screening of, and that's it.
Yeah.
He did not think this was going to be seen by the masses.
No.
He did not want this to be seen by the masses.
No. I mean, he didn't want to see shit. She's trying to prove that their relationship is perfect and they're in love, and to shut down their haters. Again, stop it.
Stop it. the most unaware, unself-reflective, again, narcissistic thing I've ever seen, creation I've ever seen.
Even the whole time, Jane Fonda is saying, I can't believe they left this in. Jane Fonda begrudgingly agrees to be part of this.
And you can feel that begrudgingness through the screen.
From every single person
everyone involved.
And Jane Fonda is saying to her, hey, baby, in like a motherly, caring way. So being like, I understand like you really like this, but does it feel like you're trying to prove that you guys are in love instead of why don't you just be in love?
And JLo's reaction to that is like, oh, I can't possibly.
Yeah, but that's us.
Yeah.
Her thing was like, Jane Fonda's like, with all like the paparazzi and like being seen out and the kissing and everything and forcing these public appearances, it kind of looks performative. And she's like, but that's us. And it's like, oh, so you're agreeing it's performative and you don't even realize.
Yeah. Every line that comes out of JLo's mouth in this feels like she wants to drop a mic after it. Like every single thing she says is so performative and like self-help language from the 2000s.
Oh my God.
She thinks she's, and I know exactly what she was doing during this entire thing. Like every choice that was made in the edit, I know exactly what she wants this to be.
Yes.
She has so many speeches in which she's crying and she's sacrificed things for this and she wants to be a martyr. Like she wants to be a martyr.
Talking to employees. Like, she's never talking to a friend or like...
Yes, yeah, she's talking to her entourage. She is always... Who she treats like shit.
Yeah.
That poor woman, the accountant lady, who's just trying to save her some money, she like... I don't know, like there were so many times I'm like, Jayla, you do not look good in this scene. You look like a
such a
psycho. Such a bitch. The way she talks to crew. There's
oh
all
my
this
God.
stuff
The
in
mud?
The mud!
Okay. So there's this scene, if anyone doesn't know, where it's clearly a rehearsal day. And it's like, it's a pre-production day before rehearsal. They go in to look at these conveyor belts.
This makes me sick.
And she's like so angry at the crew being like, what? So I can't dance on these conveyor belts. What's the point then? If they're not going to turn on. And I'm like, you are talking to production crew who are capable of miracles within 12 hours.
Yeah.
They will be able to build an entire set. Like, these people work 20 fucking hours a day.
It reminded me so much of the Taylor Tomlinson bit, how she started her special being like, with the lift. Imagine being like, oh, but I don't even want to use it anymore. And they're like, we just worked for a fucking week on this. You are using it.
Yeah.
J-Lo was the epitome of that.
Yeah.
Of who Taylor Tomlinson was making fun of.
Yeah. So anyway, she comes in, she's like, what the fuck I can't believe this is happening. She's pissed off. And then the whole day, people are following her around with Tupperware containers of mud being like,
is this the consistency you want?
Yeah, is this the mud
for the mud that you're going to dance in?
Yeah. For 30 seconds, by the way.
Well, as we were watching it, because Luke hasn't seen the visual album, so I was filling him in as we went.
Right.
I was like, I don't remember a mud scene. Like, that's how little it was in the film. And she is putting everyone through the absolute ringer for it. And again, I know what she was doing in that moment. She wanted to look like someone who was taking care of everything. She's looking at mud. She's a perfectionist. Like, that's what she wanted to portray in these moments. But
like in Beyonce's Renaissance documentary, where people are being like, I don't really get what you're saying. And Beyonce's like, well, you have to, like, and he's just like, figure it out. And she has a clear vision and she's very focused on it. But then the vision is executed, so we can be on her side.
Well.
Oh my God. Like,
that's what she wanted. She wanted to become across like some perfectionist genius artist, but instead she has just come across like an absolute fucking dick. The way she treats the crew in this is insane.
Like, so people are following around all day with these Tupperware containers being like, please look at the mud. Tell me the mud is good. We just need you to feel the mud. And it gets to the end of the day and she's like, I'm leaving. And the crew is like just standing at the window of her car being like,
can you please touch the fucking mud? We need an answer on this mud situation that you created.
Yes, that you seem to be so fucking anal about. She turns to her driver and is like, drive.
Oh.
like running, and she's complaining about the problem she created.
She complains throughout this entire thing about the problems she has created for herself. Again, the lack of self-reflection is diabolical in this. She breaks down at one point crying, and she wants you to feel sorry for her. She is the victim in this moment. She switches between martyr and victim. At this point, she's victim. She's missed her husband's premiere of a film that he's worked really hard on.
Air, by the way, which is nominated for
Air.
a ton of awards.
I was wondering which one it was.
I had to look it up because I was like, what is this premiere that she missed?
She missed it because she had to stay to work on this film, and she is breaking down crying about it. And the whole time I'm like, bitch, this is your film.
Yeah.
You call the shots. You could take a break on production for a few days on this.
Right. And the whole
It's
time
up to you.
everyone's like, the production schedule is bad. Change the production schedule.
We need more time.
And then she's like, I can't believe I'm running out of time. It's like, you didn't listen to anyone.
You don't have to be.
And you showed us you not listening to anyone.
That's the thing. It's weird what she's decided to keep in the edit. Like, it's so strange, the choices she's made.
Mm-hmm.
She's so delusional that she thinks all of these things are coming across in a good way for her, but every choice she makes, the fact that they kept in the scene listing everyone who said no.
It's
the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, this movie.
like, it's like everyone even has that instinct of like, when you've been rejected, it's like, you're meant to be this big celebrity that apparently has all this pull, and you're like, I have such an artistic vision and people really respect me as an artist and they'll understand this vision. Everyone's like, I don't understand it. I don't want to work with you. And
how many times people jokingly, because they can't say it seriously because she'll go off, say, I don't understand this. The actors, like fucking from Modern Family,
Sofia Vergara
was saying her line, and you could tell she didn't understand what the line, I didn't understand what the line fucking meant.
Her having to explain to every person in that Zodiac scene
what it is,
what is happening. And even then they're like, oh, cool.
Okay. So there's this whole scene where they go through in real time when her agent and manager or whatever is telling her when people have said no. Like Taylor Swift has said no, blah, blah, has said no. And then after it, she has this moment. It's not a talk to camera. She's never talking to the camera. She was always talking to someone else there. It's so manufactured.
Yeah.
Because you know that there's like 3 cameras on them. They're mic'd up. This is not a moment that the documentary team has just happened to catch. Like this is very staged, very set up.
It's a clear focus close up.
Absolutely. Yeah, she knows the cameras are there. And she says something along the lines of, they're just scared. All these people have said no, are just scared, and they don't want to put themselves out there. The fucking delusion. I yelled at the TV, no, babes, it's because they read a fucking script. That's why they've said no.
It has real, like, everyone's just really jealous of me vibes.
It is so delusional. Do you know what also this gave me? The whole way through, Luke and I were just saying, is this a joke? Like, is this are we being...
Yeah. Is the third part of this... that the reveal of, haha, just kidding.
Could you imagine? How brilliant would that be, by the way? But it was giving the whole way through. We were just like, this is Spinal Tap. This is a Christopher Guest movie. This is like someone making fun of a celebrity like this.
Oh my God.
It felt like it felt like this was Spinal Tap part. This is the sequel of Spinal Tap.
That's a perfect parallel.
Because like it's subtle, it's overt but subtle enough that you believe that these people could exist.
Yeah.
But it's obvious enough of a parody that like, but no one would actually act this way.
Oh my God, imagine if you did. That's the funny of it. And then she's acting.
But she is
insane.
serious. She's taking this so fucking seriously. Speaking of Ben, sorry, this has just come to my mind of taking things seriously. Do you remember the bit where they're filming this scene where she's come into the friend's intervention and the gun falls out of the guy's pants?
Yeah.
That in the movie itself, in This Is Me, Not Ellipses Now, that was not played for comedy. That was a moment where you're like, oh my God, he's got a gun.
Yeah.
This is so serious.
She's in danger.
When they film it, Ben's on set, he laughs. He cracks up at that.
Yeah.
Because it's a laugh of just like, I can't believe this is happening. This is insane. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And she kept that in. I just don't understand.
There's so much of like, she's such a narcissist. She doesn't understand that this is a poor portrayal of her. She's so obsessed with herself. And Ben says that as well in the documentary.
Ben makes so many good points. And she was in that editing room. How is she not digested those points?
This is my thing of like, I think that he knows this might not be forever because he came across so well in all of this. This made me like Ben Affleck.
Oh, me too. I'm on his side. He was the audience conduit. He was the only person who was fucking looking at this and being like, dude, this isn't good.
Yeah. He's like, every time he spoke as well, it's like he used chess voice.
He did. It was quietly spoken.
Yeah. But like really like you want to lean in and you're so interested in what he's saying.
You're right.
He does have that like magical charisma that so many actors have. And he's like, for me, like, there's never going to be enough alcohol. For Jennifer, it's like, there's never going to be enough followers. There's never going to be. And I was like, dude, just called her a narcissist.
Again, how did this make it in?
And again, like this idea that this is to portray that they're so in love and like this is the real deal and everyone listen up, she's changed, she's locked down now. Yeah. Another point is at the start when she's like, Ben gave me this beautiful book with all of our...
God.
Can you believe this was just... this happened at the very start and I was like, oh no.
Oh, this is setting a tone.
Yeah. She's like, Ben gave me this beautiful book full of all of our love letters and emails over the years.
And text messages, everything, all of their personal correspondence.
And she takes that into the studio, shows it to, by the way, she says, anyone who was in there.
She's treating it like a coffee table book.
Yeah.
She leaves it out on a table.
Yeah.
And says, everyone, have a look through. Yeah.
Read my fucking sex from Ben Affleck in 2002. Without his permission.
That is textbook narcissist.
Cut that out. Are you fucking serious?
That's what I mean. Why did all these things make it through?
Yeah.
This could have been a half-an-hour documentary.
Oh my God. As if they didn't have a massive fight after that.
Of course they did. Or I'm just like, the vibe I got from him during this is he's clocked out. He's on his way. I got that vibe from like this production. I felt like because also, sorry, you're married to an actual Oscar-winning writer, director, and filmmaker. He is offering you. There's a scene where he is literally up. I'm grabbing my mic.
She's sitting in his lap giggling and he's like, you should listen to me. She's like,
he literally says, you should listen to me. I have made films before. And then he gives an excellent analogy where he says, if I was to suddenly do what he calls a rock concert, which was
I was like, oh, you're old. You're in your 50s, I forget.
But if I was to do a rock concert, I would come to you for advice. So maybe you should listen to my advice on making a movie because what you're doing here is insane.
Yes.
And she laughs at him.
She's like, shut up, puppy. But you know what's crazy is he did his Dunkin' Donuts ad over the Super Bowl. So funny.
So good. I loved that. Yeah, that was really good.
I watched it on repeat afterwards to like cleanse and be like, damn.
He's okay. I think Ben will be okay.
He's a psycho, but he's got it. You can't deny he's got it.
I love Ben Affleck. I love his performance and his movies.
Yeah, he's had some problematic behavior in the past, but
as an artist,
he's
got it. He gets it.
Yeah.
The victimhood in this is insane. Like again, everything she goes from being either a martyr and a hero or a victim. There's no in between, and she's never at fault for anything. She does that. She self-therapizes. She uses self-help language, and she never is to blame for anything, which is so uncomfortable to watch. When, again, she made this.
Yeah.
If I was watching this and someone else had made it, I'd be like, oh, maybe JLo's, she's a lot, but maybe she's kind of cool. But the fact that that she made this is insane.
And it was all her choice. It's like you're right, acting the victim and being like, I have no control. And it's like, you are in charge of everything. You've made yourself in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Studios said, we actually don't want to be in charge of this at all.
The director who came on board because he's directed some excellent music videos in his career.
Dave Miles?
Yeah. He came on board And you could tell the moment where he realizes he's in too deep and this is not what he thought it was going to be. And they showed that moment too. Like, what is this? What is this for, JLo? Like, what are you trying to get across in this? That you're a tortured artist?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's that thing of like, she keeps saying, I'm an artist. And it's like, you literally haven't released an album in 20 years.
Yeah.
What art? Like, you've done a bunch of, she's a fantastic rom-com actor.
She needs to stick to rom-com. Like, most of this was acting, right? She was not real in it. She was performing.
Someone who claims I'm real, bitch.
I'm not real. Like, every moment in this, you could tell she thought about what she was going to say in that moment. None of it was off the cuff. None of it was all pre-planned. Even in that, she's a great actor. She can cry on cue. Yeah. We saw that in this.
We absolutely saw that. Oh my God.
You know, she can feel, she can do emotions, she can do rom-coms. Stick to that idea.
Again, acting is a talent. Writing is another talent that you have to learn. You can't just cough it up out of nowhere.
Exactly. At one point, she says, when people are saying to her over and over again, this is a very complicated storyline. And she keeps calling it meta.
Yes.
She used the word meta like 4 times.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, well, now I know exactly what you think this is. You don't know what meta means, and that's a word that you're using. She says at one point, look, I don't expect anyone to get this. Then why are you making it, babe?
It's like, then keep it to yourself.
Well, then why are you making it for the public consumption if you don't expect anyone to get it?
Also, it's like other people have to have passion for the project. Something of this scale, other people have to get it and back you.
And want to do it.
Otherwise, it turns out fucking shit. Because no one wants to make you look good. Because no one understands what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And no one's performing well in it. Like, I felt so bad for all the people. Also, the sequence of finding out all the people who said no. Now I feel really bad for the people who said yes.
Oh
How
my God.
How embarrassing for them in that scene.
So, except for Jennifer Lewis, who plays the Geminis.
Oh, yeah.
She
was great.
She needs a doco.
Yeah. About her time in this movie.
Or just any clip I see of Jennifer Lewis, I stop.
She's fantastic.
Because she is at 200% every day. She's literally like, you don't fuck around with time. And it's like, she's pissed to be there.
Yeah.
She's not even hiding it.
Yeah.
Oh, another person that got trapped in this, because looking at, everyone's like, she's a really talented dancer. The choreography in some of these pieces was great.
Great. We're in no way criticizing her dancing and choreography skills. That is where she excels.
Yeah. Some of them are great. And I kind of was like, oh, this feels like it has Paris Goebel vibes, who did Rihanna's Super Bowl choreography.
Okay.
And then 3 minutes into the documentary, you see her sitting with Paris Goebel trying to explain it to her.
Oh.
And she's like, and this is the beat that goes, ba, ba, ba. And I was like, Paris Goebel does not need you to explain the
what
beat
a
to her.
fucking beat is. She was not into it too. You could tell she was she the one with the big glasses?
Yes.
You could tell she was just like, what the fuck?
She was stressed. She wanted to get the fuck out
Everyone
of there.
in this movie is stressed.
And no one was comfortable on camera. Everyone was like looking at the sides being like, is this really fucking happening?
This is insane.
And back to the whole like, this is meta thing. It's like, she flipped between being like, this is our love story. This is very directly a story about me, to being like,
factual.
But it's not about me. It's about this other character,
it's
you know?
the feelings that I felt during, but it doesn't actually, she has no idea, and it's insane.
Can I talk about the most insane moment?
Please.
Apart from the mud, that's up there. When she is talking about how she's going to get Anthony Ramos on this.
Remind me.
So about the Rebound music video. So very talented actor, Anthony Ramos. The Rebound song, which implies is about...
Very heavily implies.
She says this song is about her relationship with Mark Anthony. Heavily implies that he is domestically violent with her. In multiple interviews since, and in this documentary, she's like, oh no, he was like, I was emotionally abused by him and verbally abused by him, but never physically. Anthony then says on the phone, hey, I'm friends with Mark. I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Another scene that I don't think should have made it through the edit.
And it blows her mind. She can't understand how someone who is friends with a guy
That you're implying was domestically abusive quite heavily.
Yeah. Doesn't want to
be part of it.
She's like, what the hell? Oh.
And again, I think she left that in to be a victim, to show how hard this process has been, how everyone's up against her, because she was expecting this movie to come out and for it to be fucking adored. And so that's what, like, she made, you can tell she reverse engineered this entire documentary because on the basis that this movie would go well. But the thing is, it hasn't. So this is fucking embarrassing. Like, she wanted to be like, look at all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through to make this piece of art.
Exactly.
I tell you what, it gave me real, like, as I always need to, we always need to make everything about comedy. But to me, this process felt like the same as comedy, right? So she saw Beyonce's Lemonade and Homecoming. She's combined Homecoming and Lemonade into one source text. She saw that, and she saw Beyonce mine her trauma of her husband cheating on her.
Yeah.
Of the trauma of the tragedy that she's gone through. So J-Lo has seen that and she's gone, I want to do that, which is what the comedy community did after Hannah Gadsby released her special. Right? As soon as Nanette came out, for like 2 years after that, the entire comedy community was like, should I be mining trauma?
Yes.
And tragedy for my comedy?
Oh, shows don't need to be all about being funny.
Yeah, okay. So I need to talk about like whatever trauma I've been through. So the next 2 years, all festival shows were based around trauma. And I think that's what she's doing here. She saw Beyonce mine her trauma and she's like, I want to mine my trauma. But the thing is, J-Lo doesn't have trauma to mine.
She's had it's like, of course you grew up in the Bronx.
Sure.
That seemed hard.
But that's not what this is about.
No.
At all. This is about her relationships.
When you've been an incredibly rich and famous, successful woman.
Yep.
And to be like, I'm just like you. It's like, you can't be just... Beyonce at no point implies that she's just like us.
True
She's fucking Beyonce. And even though it's like in her songs, she talks about relatable stuff. In an interview, she's never going to be like, I think people will really relate to me.
Yeah. Well, there's that beautiful moment where I think it was Diane Sawyer said to Beyonce at the beginning of an interview, so you're Beyonce. And Beyonce responded, thank you.
Oh my God. To one day say that. You're Alex J.
Thank you. That's correct.
I
adore it. I adore this text. I adore this piece of art. Please, everyone, watch it. Give her the clicks so she makes more.
Yeah, just let her come undone.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled this, to be honest. Like, it's only been out a couple of days.
I think it will, might get buried.
Think they should
but again, it'd be so hard to... You see how hard it is for people to convince her...
Well, that's true, yeah.
...of anything.
Yeah, that's true.
When the manager leaned over and was like... We're going to need an extra $200,000 for post. I was like, oh no. She knows. She knows this is going to be bad.
This is really bad, you guys. And like, Luke made a good point as well. He's like, I don't know much about J-Lo, but I always just thought she was fun and cool. And this has changed that completely.
Yeah.
She is not the cool, fun-loving person. This has changed my love and excitement for Jen and Ben getting back together. Ew, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
It's toxic. It is not good.
Yeah. And also this is the, I think, third documentary she's made about herself.
Is it?
Yeah. So she did Halftime for the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
Which there was vibes of this.
Okay.
It wasn't on the same level.
Okay.
But there was points where she was just like, everyone's making me work so hard. Everyone's always at me about this. It's like, yeah, it's the Super Bowl halftime.
Like, it's so early 2000s. Like, she's so out of touch. She doesn't like, this would have probably flown in the 2000s because we didn't know about narcissism yet.
I mean, but even if the document, like, if the album was good.
Well, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and just really quick before we wrap up, another part of Ben just hates Jen when he says literally to her, you're calling this the greatest love story never told, but you're telling it. So that doesn't apply anymore. With the subtext of, you fucking idiot, you beautiful, gorgeous idiot.
So beautiful. So fucking beautiful.
Cannot wait to make you a margarita later, babes.
Oh my God. Okay. I literally
so
a whole
much,
nother
dude.
page of notes.
Yeah.
One more thing I will say
Yeah.
that pissed me off about this is she makes a comment about how she's like, oh, it's really hard for me to keep up with all these dancers because they're all so much younger than me.
Oh my God. I was in the bathroom when I heard that and I literally yelled out to Luke, so she's a victim of aging now too?
Right? Oh, sorry that happened. But I'm like, you are in charge of every part of this.
Every part.
Guess what? You can hire older dancers. If you want to tell a real story and you care about representation and all of this shit, don't hire a bunch of 20-year-olds.
You have every piece of control in this film. And also another good point that I saw, it was that like, because they have that whole sequence of how no one wants to buy the film,
Yeah.
right? So then she has to self-fund it. She's a victim of that too. And I was like, babes, I think again, they just saw a script and they all pulled out their
And
office.
they were like, what is it? And she's like, you wouldn't get it.
But like, if it was sold to a production company, it would have probably been good because she wouldn't have nearly as much control as she did because it was self-funded. Like if they'd sold it to, say, a Netflix or something, Netflix would have taken over and it might have been good.
Yeah.
But instead, she's been given complete control, so it's shit.
So shit.
Anyway, we've got to get out of
We
here.
got to get out of here. Oh my God.
All right, so that's our wrap up of the incredible film Anatomy of the Fall and the best comedy of 2024.
Crash fire that is.
The greatest love
Love
story never told. Let us know what you guys think about those two films. We just cannot stop thinking about it. I want to talk more. I want to watch this documentary till the day I die.
Yeah.
Everyone, please watch it. Let us know what you think.
It's a gift. It is in my favorite genre of fantastic crap. So I will say, even though it is awful, it is fun to watch.
It's so fun. If you can settle into what it is and what it was meant to be, yum.
Yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
We've run out of time for small screen recs, so we'll do double next week
Double
for you.
more Screen Recs next week.
Let's rate the things that we watched very quickly.
Oh, yes, of course.
Anatomy of Fall. How many Snoops out of 5?
5 Snoops out of 5.
5 Snoops out of 5.
Literally cannot fault that film.
Yeah.
Greatest love story never told. How many Tupperware containers of mud would you give this film out of 5?
I mean, if we're using mud, I give it 5.
Sure.
I give it the biggest pile of mud you could ever give.
And all of the composting that goes along with it.
Yeah, it's trash, but I loved every second of watching it.
Yep. I'll watch it again.
Yeah, for sure.
We love you.
We love you.